Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now, today, another quick game of Interplanetary I Spy going on here. We're looking at Apollo 10 Earthrise image, which was taken in 1969, and was the recon mission for the Apollo 11 landings. Now, this was a manned mission around the moon, and basically what they did, all they were there for was to photograph the surface of the moon and find a landing site for the next mission, which is Apollo 11. And I've got some of their images here. I'll have the official link to it here. This is the Apollo 10 digital library here. Some of these are quite large, some of the images are quite big, some are not so big. Obviously, the bigger the image, the better. Um, okay. And there's also, I'll have links to all these. There's this story from the BBC from that year when this mission was launched, and it goes into some detail about what they said, and there's a bit of detail here. Colonel Sam said they had taken so many photographs he feared the camera had jammed while trying to change the film. So they took a lot of pictures of the surface of the moon looking for a safe landing site for the manned mission to the surface. So this was a manned mission, but they didn't land. They were never meant to land in this mission. They were only there to do a recon for the next mission. Okay, so I basically downloaded this one here. Now this is quite a large image. This is 4096 by 4096. It's not a bad image actually, as moon images go, and it looks fairly normal. I.e., it doesn't look like it's been faked too much. This particular image. Now, when I say faked, a lot of the images obviously were taken of the moon, above the moon. This one was taken from 8 miles up. So any objects you do see on the surface would have to be very, very large indeed for them to show in any detail at all. And basically, I've got the image here. Here's the image. Now all I've done is clipped it down to fit the viewer here. All I've done is cut the top off the image here, because there's nothing to see up in the space area around the Earth. It's just black. But something that struck me immediately about this image is this area here. If you can see that on the left there, it looks like a sort of some sort of crashed vehicle or something. And there's all this sort of white, very bright material or reflective rock or whatever you want to call it coming off from behind it. So it could be a crater, of course. Now, there are many craters on the surface of the moon. And the weird thing is with the moon, it's got these large dark patches out, large areas of dark material with light material in between. And where if you look at a lot of the large craters on the moon, they're very white and very reflective. So the material below the surface is actually much brighter than the stuff on the surface. And where meteors and stuff have hit the surface of the moon, you get these very reflective craters and holes in the surface, which are very bright. Now, bear that in mind. I'll come back to that in a minute. But this is what I was interested in. Straight away, I looked at this and I thought, hang on a minute, what the hell is this? It's not a crater. Here's a normal crater here, just here, and you can see it's sort of ovoid shape, and it's dark in the middle, so it's obviously a bit hollowed out. Okay, but this one, you can clearly see without doing anything to the image that there's something coming out of this. It's a very odd shape. It's like a heart shape, if you imagine that's, or like an arrow tip shape almost, with a pointy end here. But there's something coming out of it. There's like a big tube coming out of it. See that? I'll zoom in a bit more. Obviously now that's pixelated. So what I did, I took a couple of clips of it, and I'll show you. There, I've just highlighted it there. Now, yeah, let's go to the next one. Now, even when you turn it to negative, you can see that there's something here. You can see like a pipe sticking out of this strange crater, whatever it's supposed to be. Okay, let's get rid of that. And I've got some close-up clips of it here. This is a raw clip. I've done nothing to this. All I've done is clipped it out of the original photo and enlarged it slightly. Okay, and you can clearly see without doing anything to this image that there's something sticking out of this hole on the surface of the moon. It's like a big pipe, and this is not a crater. I mean, whenever have you seen a crater that is shaped like an arrow or a heart shape? You know, it just doesn't make any sense at all. Now, so I did a couple more enhancements, and I'll show you. That's still a raw clip. It's just a bit closer. Nothing done to this whatsoever. And I'll show you the enhancement here. Now, all I've done here is up the contrast and darken it a bit. That's all I've done. I haven't done anything drastic to this. As you can see, it's just a bit darker. I've given it a little bit of Gaussian blur just to get rid of a little bit of the pixelation here. And you can clearly see there's a big pipe sticking out of this thing. And some other little structures here. And when I say little, I mean they're huge, because this is 8 miles up, and this is showing pretty clearly. So this thing here from left to right was probably a good mile across. I couldn't tell you exactly. Oh, well, go back to the source image in a minute and then try and work it out. So there we go. Big pipe sticking out of a very strangely shaped wannabe crater on the surface of the moon. And that's, I've gone in really dark there. You don't really see any more detail than that, really. Okay, so I'll have clips of all these in at the end of the video, like I always do anyway, so you can just freeze frame it and look at it a bit closer. So that was that one. Then that was the Apollo 10 Earthrise image. So if you want to look for that, you can get the link from my description. I'll have links to all these, or you can just type it in. You know, just go on Google Images, type in Apollo 10 Earthrise, select your search tools, size, larger than 2 megapixel or something like that, or and you'll get the larger image, which is this one. And I think I got this from Wikimedia, Wikimedia Commons page, but you can get it from a number of sources. So right, that's that one. I'll quickly have a look at this other image here. Okay, now this is also Apollo 10, but this is the Erde von Monde image, which is really weird. Now, this is very similar to the other image, taken, I'm not sure whether it was just before or after that previous image. And it's a much straighter image. I'll show you the original image here. It's not at such an angle, but it's taken not long after that one, I think, and is in full colour. And you can see the Earth, the blue of the Earth there, and the cloud and everything on the Earth. But this may have been colour enhanced slightly. It looks a bit brown. Who knows? You can get different versions of it, and I'm still not sure which one is the real one. But this does show signs of being manipulated. This image, and there's this very strange light, sort of highlight along the horizon here. Now this may be real. I'm not really sure. And if I zoom in, you can see this edge here goes all the way along, and it's got like a light edge, and then it kind of goes grayer along here and gets darker and darker. I mean, that may be normal. It's the sun probably reflecting on that background, but it does look to me a bit like this image has been manipulated, and it's been a composite image, and the background may have been cut out, and this could just be from another photograph. So this could be a composite photograph where they've taken the foreground from one image and the background from another. It's hard to say exactly, but there were a couple of things in this image I thought were interesting, and the first one is this here. Now, this is not a crater, this round thing. It's actually sitting on top of the surface. It's like a structure, like a dome or some kind of structure. Now, this is a crater over here. Now you can tell that's a crater because it's slightly risen from the surface, and you can see into it, and you can see it kind of slopes inwards, like you would expect. But this one over here is not. This one is actually sticking up. There's something sticking up from it there, and it's not very clear. But whilst I was looking at that, I looked up into this corner, and there's really weird stuff going on here. Now this is definitely a crater at the back here. You can see it's very large. Now this is probably a similar height or the last image I showed you. So it's probably around about 8 miles. It could be a bit higher. Not really sure exactly. It could be about 10 miles. But I would have thought it was probably the same because it was taken on at the same time, roughly. And in this crater, there's a really odd structure here. And this, I've done nothing to this. This is the raw, so-called raw image of the surface. And there's this. Now, I don't know if you can make that out. I wouldn't get too close. But there's a really weird-looking structure here. And it looks like some kind of machinery or some kind of like a device, or it could be a building. I really don't know. I'll just show you the clips of that. Here's the clip. Now that's the raw clip. Nothing done to that. You can see there's something there, and there's something sticking up here. Now whether that's a building or some kind of machinery, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. It's a very abstract looking shape, but it doesn't look like normal rocks to me. And these angular shapes on top, to me, make it look like some kind of building, or perhaps some kind of huge machine, or who knows? Who knows what it is? If you've got any ideas, leave a comment. Really don't know what this is at all. Absolutely no idea. It looks intelligently designed, whatever it is. Let's have a quick look at that wannabe crater there. Now, this isn't much. You can't see a lot of detail on this. It's quite large, but it's not very easy to pull out any detail. But there's some kind of structure sticking up from this here, and it's really quite vague. And when you increase the contrast, you can see that there is something here, like a sort of building here. I don't know if you can make that out. Just here with a sort of roof structure and what looks like a door. It may not be, of course, but I'm just saying that looks like a structure, some kind of intelligent structure there. It's a bit vague, I know, and I think this image, unlike the previous one, has been manipulated quite heavily to try and cover up some of this stuff. It seems to be sort of blurred out. There was this weird sort of structure here as well, but it's so small. I'll show you it on the original clip, the first clip I'd done. This is a raw clip. Just down here, there's this weird, what could be a building here, with a sort of H shape to it there, like an H, and a weird sort of structure. It could be a ruined building, who knows? But I mean, that's probably really big. But of course, if we're 8 miles up, it's not going to look very big at all. So there we go. I thought I'd just show these quickly because that was weird, and you can see that weird thing even in the raw image here. Just here, you can see that weird structure, and it does look intelligent. Let's have another quick look at the enhanced version of that so you can see it a bit clearer. There we go. Any ideas what that is? Answers on the postcard. I have no idea what it is, but it doesn't look like a crater, and it doesn't look like rocks. Like many of the things we see on the Moon and Mars, they are not natural. They are intelligently designed. Let's have another quick look at the other one, which was the one with the pipe sticking out. Let's have a look at this one here, because that's probably the clearest. There we go. Now, what could this possibly be? It's not a crater. Craters are not that shape. So this is some kind of ruined structure. It could have been a weird dome or buildings that have collapsed or something. They could have been destroyed. Who knows? But that is a pipe, some kind of weird pipe structure. Comes right up to there, sticking out of a very strange shaped hole on the surface of the moon. So who knows? Who knows what that is? Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you soon.